although, listen, Eubank, it took a lot for him to come back after getting viciously knocked out by Liam Smith, to come back and beat Liam Smith.
Backing Conor Benn, I know Conor, spoke to him a few times, always been a top bloke to me. His dad's a top bloke, his dad's a legend, and I'll be backing him, but it's going to be difficult, as he's already alluded to, the two weight divisions coming up, but it'll also be difficult for Eubank to stay within that hydration clause, I think it is, so it's all to play for both.
Tough fight for Conor. Not saying he can't win it, because one big left hook could change anything. But to me, his best chance are to try to land a big shot. If that don't happen, or if he lands it and it don't hurt Chris, then it's going to be pretty rough for him, because Chris is definitely an improvement.
Teddy Atlas didn't hold back when analyzing the upcoming showdown between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, delivering a bold prediction. According to Atlas, Eubank Jr.'s success hinges on his lightning-fast hands and ability to control the distance, counterpunching with precision. At his best, Eubank Jr. thrives when given room to move, allowing his skills to shine. However, Benn has a different plan. He's prepared to bring relentless pressure, aiming to suffocate Eubank Jr.'s movement and force him into an uncomfortable battle. Benn's strategy revolves around disrupting Eubank Jr.'s rhythm, making it difficult for him to land his shots with efficiency. The key question is whether Eubank Jr. can maintain his preferred distance and execute.
Eubank's, wants to probably keep it on the outside as much as he can and use his skill sets to, use his hand speed and his ability to throw counter punches and, punches from different angles. He needs space, or space accommodates him pretty well and favors him pretty well when he has that space to do that. And I would think that Benn would like to take that space away, like to kind of work his way in and maybe go to the body like a better BF with a Bevo, take the legs away,
Execute his strategy, or if Benn's non-stop aggression will break through and alter the course of the fight. This highly anticipated clash is set to shake up the boxing world. Eubank Jr. will likely look to keep the fight on the outside, using his hand speed and counter-punching ability to his advantage. He excels when
the ability of Eubanks when he's right, when his focus is there, when he's right, to be able to do things in a boxing way on the outside. And I love Benn's style and his approach. I do, where being aggressive in a responsible way. In a way a fighter should be, with paying attention to, doing it with defense and responsibility of defense and, just proper way to engage somebody. But the consistent offense, looking to, to engage.
Given space to operate, where he can throw punches from different angles and dictate the pace. Space is his ally, providing him with the ability to showcase his boxing IQ and skill set effectively. Conversely, Benn will seek to close that space, pressuring Eubank Jr. and attacking the body, much like Artur Beterbiev did against Dmitry Bivol, aiming to neutralize his movement and take away his legs. Atlas praised Eubank Jr.'s ability to control the distance when focused, highlighting.
It was a great fight. I would pick Benn at the minute, simply because Eubank was cracked by Liam Smith, and he was never cracked before, and it's a summary for me. He had a great chin up to then, and then he was knocked out, and it's never quite the same again. I think Benn is a more explosive fighter than Liam Smith. He's faster. He punches hard, but then, good big one will always beat a good little one, all those cliches. But I just think I would give Benn the edge. But,
Highlighting his sharp boxing skills and strong fundamentals. However, he also acknowledged Benn's mix of aggression and disciplined defense, noting how their contrasting styles create an intriguing dynamic. This stylistic clash promises an unpredictable and electrifying fight. Meanwhile, Barry McGuigan has thrown his support behind Conor Benn, believing that Eubank Jr.'s durability has been compromised since his knockout loss to Liam Smith. While McGuigan respects Eubank Jr.'s toughness and natural size.
Yeah, well, it's bigger than it ever was. It's 3 times bigger than it was before the 2 positive clomiphene tests. Ben's dangerous early in that fight, in my view, because he's coming with all that stinging venom and kind of pent-up aggression that he's developed over the last 2.5 years. But I think Eubank's fought the better level of opponents, even though he's aged 2.5 years and he's been knocked out by Liam Smith.
He sees Benn's speed and power as key advantages. He argues that Ben hits harder than Smith, which could be critical in exploiting potential weaknesses in Eubank's defense. McGuigan also emphasized that Ben's ability to close the distance and land explosive shots would create significant problems for Eubank Jr. By putting him under consistent pressure, Ben could prevent him from controlling the fight's pace and range. This tactical battle between Eubank Jr.'s precision and Ben's aggression makes for a fascinating and unpredictable encounter.
I'm looking forward to the build-up once they get the fathers involved. April the 26th, Nigel and Conor are both emotional, and Chris both play the villain, don't they?
Okay.
Even though I think in this one, Eubank Jr. is going to be able to sit back a little bit. Yeah, some people are saying that they don't think the fight means anything, but I think the bloodline in British sport.
Any man in the UK who's watched the dads fight.
Fans can expect a war inside the ring where the outcome may come down to who can impose their game plan more effectively. Gareth A. Davies believes that the fight between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. has never been bigger, especially following Benn's drug test controversy. He expects Benn to start aggressively, fueled by frustration, but ultimately sees Eubank's experience as the decisive factor. Despite Eubank's age and his knockout loss to Liam Smith, Davies predicts a victory on points. He argues that
the circuses and what you're a fool to buy into, it's a really good fight. It's a 50-50 fight between 2 guys that are world ranked in their division. I mean, he's making out like neither of them have ever boxed before. They're both used to this. It's a mismatch. It's not. It's a 50-50 fight between 2 world ranked fighters who, by the way, fathers happen to be Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank, who had the biggest rivalry ever in British boxing, and, by the way, whose sons now have, by far, the biggest rivalry in British boxing.
Eubank's ability to handle pressure and superior ring craft will allow him to withstand Benn's early attack and secure a decision win in what promises to be an intense and high-stakes battle. Davies also highlighted the excitement surrounding the fight's build-up, particularly with Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Sr. adding emotional drama to the rivalry. He emphasized the fight's significance in British boxing history, making it a must-watch, especially for those who remember the original.
I just think Conor Benn's going to win. Too young, too fresh, and although, listen, Eubank, it took a lot for him to come back after getting viciously knocked out by Liam Smith, to come back and beat Liam Smith.
Benn versus Eubank battles. The clash between their sons has reignited old passions and created a compelling narrative, further amplifying anticipation. According to Davies, the legacy of these legendary fighters raises the stakes, ensuring an unforgettable spectacle for boxing fans both old and new. This bout is set to be a historic moment in the sport. Eddie Hearn has also expressed strong support for the Benn versus Eubank Jr. fight, calling it an...
I just think the fight's happening at the right time for Conor Benn. I think the fight's happening at the right time, and I favour Conor Benn in the fight.
Yeah.
I think Eubank Jr. is good for boxing. Genuinely, I think Chris Jr. is good for boxing. I think that if he was promoted by a Frank Warren or an Eddie Hearn back in the day when he turned pro, he would be an even bigger star than what he is now, because of how he is. He's funny, like he's mildly, he's quite funny, isn't he, Eubank Jr.? He speaks well, but yeah, I think he's good for boxing. But I just think Conor Benn's going to chin him.
An evenly balanced contest between 2 top fighters. He dismissed any claims of a mismatch, instead emphasizing the legendary feud between their fathers. Hearn pointed out that the rivalry between the sons has now become the most heated in British boxing, adding that the personal history between the families makes this more than just a fight, it's a battle of legacies. This unique dynamic enhances the bout's excitement and significance in British boxing history. Meanwhile, Sam Jones is confident that Conor Benn...
Very tough fight for Conor. Not saying he can't win it because one big left hook could change anything. But to me, his best chances are to try to land a big shot. If that don't happen, or if he lands it and it don't hurt Chris, then it's going to be pretty rough for him because Chris is definitely an improved fighter. You understand me? And like, even the stuff he's doing now, he's going to continue to get better. But I think when he came down there with me for that year, it improved his foundation. You understand me? So it made him a better fighter. So he's going to be hard to beat for anybody, especially a guy that's smaller than him. But we saw Liam Smith pull out the upset at one time. So I know that gave Ben much more hope that he could probably do the same. So it's going to be a great fight. Both fighters are great fighters. I love both of them. I think Chris is a little bigger and has the advantage because he's bigger, but it's going to be a great fight.
You know what, a lot of people are talking about, Roy, you know about cutting weight and whatnot. A lot of people are talking about Chris Eubank Jr. now being at 160 and maybe being tight at that weight now, but the rehydration clause, £10, I'm saying, listen, with a £10 rehydration clause in it, that won't affect him at all.
That won't affect him at all, but I don't really think Chris was big on rehydrating anyway, so I don't think he's going to get that big, you know what I mean? He might, but I don't think 10 pounds bothers him at all.
Fast forward for another light heavyweight contest going, Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol, February the 27th.
Will emerge victorious, citing his youth and boundless energy as crucial advantages. He believes Benn's stamina and hunger to prove himself in the ring will be decisive factors in securing a win. Jones also acknowledged Eubank's resilience, especially after his brutal knockout loss to Liam Smith, noting that Eubank rebounded to defeat Smith in their rematch. This demonstrates Eubank's ability to recover and fight through adversity. However, Jones remains firm in his belief that Benn's youth will
He's going to be hard to beat for anybody, especially a guy that's smaller than him. But we saw Liam Smith pull out the upset at one time, so I know that gave Ben much more hope that he could probably do the same. So it's going to be a great fight. Both fighters are great fighters. I love both of them. I think Chris is a little bigger and has the advantage because he's bigger, but it's going to be a great fight.
Ultimately tip the scales in his favor, making him the likely winner in this highly anticipated showdown. Gareth A. Davies believes that the fight between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. has never been bigger, especially following Benn's drug test controversy. He expects Benn to start aggressively, fueled by frustration, but ultimately sees Eubank's experience as the decisive factor. Despite Eubank's age and his knockout loss to Liam Smith, Davies predicts a victory on points. He argues that Eubank's ability to handle...
I sell a fight, absolutely. Both of them, Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. They know what they're doing, they know how to sell a fight, and everyone's talking about it. So job done. You know, I seen a thing that there was 120,000 people in the queue for tickets, so if that's the case, then phenomenal. And it's the type of fight where people who aren't boxing fans are going to be watching, which brings in a whole new audience, which is only a good thing for boxing.
Handle pressure and superior ring craft will allow him to withstand Benn's early attack and secure a decision win in what promises to be an intense and high-stakes battle. Davies also highlighted the excitement surrounding the fight's build-up, particularly with Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Sr. adding emotional drama to the rivalry. He emphasized the fight's significance in British boxing history, making it a must-watch, especially for those who remember the original Benn versus Eubank battles. The clash between their sons has reignited old passions and created a compelling narrative, further amplifying anticipation. According to Davies, the legacy of these legendary fighters raises the stakes, ensuring an unforgettable spectacle for boxing fans both old and new. This bout is set to be a historic moment in the sport. Eddie Hearn has also expressed strong support for the Benn versus Eubank Jr. fight, calling it an evenly balanced contest between two top fighters. He dismissed any claims of a mismatch, instead emphasizing the legendary feud between their fathers. Hearn pointed out that the rivalry between the sons has now become the most heated in British boxing, adding that the personal history between the families makes this more than just a fight. It's a battle of legacies. This unique dynamic enhances the bout's excitement and significance in British boxing history. Meanwhile, Sam Jones believes the timing of the fight is perfect for Conor Benn and confidently favors him to win. While acknowledging Eubank Jr.'s impressive skill and potential, Jones feels that Eubank could have been a much bigger star with the right promotion and backing. Despite praising Eubank's personality and appeal in the sport, Jones predicts that Benn will rise to the occasion and deliver a knockout victory. He believes Benn's hunger, youth, and timing will ultimately overpower Eubank Jr., making the fight an unforgettable showdown with Benn securing the win. Roy Jones Jr. acknowledged that Conor Benn faces a tough challenge against Eubank Jr., but suggested that Benn's best chance at an upset could lie in landing a well-timed left hook. However, he also pointed out that if Benn fails to hurt Eubank early on, the fight would likely shift in Eubank's favor. He highlighted Eubank's significant improvements, noting that their year of training together had sharpened his skills, making him a more dangerous opponent. The contrast between Benn's aggression and Eubank's refined technique could define the outcome, with Eubank's experience ultimately giving him the edge. Roy Jones Jr. also recognized Benn's strong will, especially after his surprising defeat to Liam Smith, which could serve as motivation. However, he pointed out Eubank Jr.'s size and significant progress over the years, making him the likely favorite. While he praised both fighters for their unique strengths, Jones emphasized that Eubank Jr.'s physical edge, his size, reach, and strength, would likely give him the advantage in a fight that could go the distance. Benn's determination could push him hard, but Eubank's all-around abilities and improvements could ultimately decide the outcome. Jamie Moore acknowledged that both Eubank Jr. and Benn are experts at hyping up a fight, creating massive anticipation, as shown by the 120,000 people in the ticket queue. He highlighted that such events attract casual viewers, broadening boxing's audience and benefiting the sport overall. Moore believes this fight has transcended beyond just hardcore fans, drawing in a wider crowd and generating significant mainstream attention. The hype surrounding the bout proves how well both fighters can sell a story, making it one of the most anticipated events in British boxing history. With such an intense rivalry and differing opinions on the outcome, this fight is shaping up to be an explosive showdown. Eubank Jr.'s experience and size against Benn's speed and hunger for redemption will create a clash of styles that could go either way. The drama surrounding their father's legendary rivalry adds another layer of intensity to the narrative. It is clear this will be a high-stakes, action-packed battle that will have fans on the edge of their seats. The anticipation continues to build as British boxing awaits a showdown that could change the sport forever.